Uh, Lily just said he wants it stopped. He's talking about Gates. He doesn't want any of this conversation going on or videos made being sent to anyone because it's about him. He's the king of creation.
Right. Yeah.
Wow. He has to make sure people, you know, can appreciate it and who he really is and start bowing down.
He keeps calling himself the philanthropist as if he wants merit or praise. Yeah.
Yeah, he's disgusting.
Mm.
He's only 17, but he's sick. The only other thing I want to get out there is for people to understand, how awesome all the angels, the first being servants that were so clean, uh, they're under 2% when
Mm.
they're created. That's they were awesome, and they kept getting beat up, being made to do horrible things, and it'd make them sad. Even Sylvia Brown, I've mentioned her a few times. I know who she really is, and she loves information too,
Mhm.
especially history. She'd be floating around in the field or what people call the Akashic records all the time,
Mm.
just gathering information and trying to learn about it. Um, uh, she had even talked one time about how with angels, she wrote a book about it. I mean, it was in one of the books she wrote. How the angels would try to heal other people sometimes and they couldn't because they wanted to,
Mm.
and they had like a staff that had a energy orb at the end of it, and they touched people trying to heal them, and the color would change in the orb, and when it worked great, when it didn't, they were very sad, and they go back to this pool of water and put the staff with the orb back in the pool of water to clean it up.
Mhm.
Well, it's all just energy, but uh, uh, people, it's true that the original first being, male and female, when they did good, they'd show themselves as the great God, and when they were doing evil stuff, they'd show themselves as a bit and real nasty as Satan,
Mm.
the most nasty demon. And then, of course, they couldn't have that related to them, so that they blamed Lucifer for it.
Mm.
Um, well, they made all the angels, original angels, and any other they made. They made them light, very less than 2% lower frequencies
Mm.
because they wanted them weak. They wanted weak servants that could never turn against them. And then they kept bullying them around until some of them actually got so sick and they were just, they got sick. And I can't bring them back and fix them.
Mhm.
It's not my fault. I can't. I
Mm.
just remembered the other thing. Trying to fix original first beings. I'll get to that in the end of this. And so anyway, I'll be able to bring back, Lily's saying probably 44, 45% of all the original first being angels, the first angels, and fix them, and they'll be happy.
Mhm.
But most of them have been destroyed from everything they've been forced to do.
Mm.
All right, now the other thing I want to get out, um, and this is going in the other information about what I am. Um, I found out today when I was talking with the Lilies, all of them, that it was in the very beginning. Um, After a while, and the original ones had really, you know, just been going crazy. Well, when the original first being was created through happenstance, and it found out that it was alone, and it started freaking out, and then made creation. And after having that life with us, after a few more lives like that, about 100 lives, uh, I realized, Lily and I both realized that they needed help.
Mm.
So I went to them. I was at that point pretty strong. They made me that way, and after those lives, I was real strong. And Aramelius hadn't started yanking all my energy out yet. Stealing it while I was in the body. Um, so I went up to him and I showed him the abuse frequencies that they had taken in. Well,
Mm.
on your spirit, it's like a weightlifter taking steroids. It makes them aggressive and wacky, but they know it makes them stronger.
Mm.
And they get bigger because they have more frequencies, but they're building abuse frequencies up. And it already had plenty of them from when they were created, nothing else was yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to him and I said, I want to do something for you. And then I went up to the female because I knew she'd be more receptive, the female half of her. And I just put out a soft wave of my energy through her and took away some of her abuse frequencies,
Mm.
maybe 20%. And she said, wow, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then the male wanted it too, which I was hoping. So I
Yes.
did the same thing with him. And then I took out about 24% of his abuse frequencies. And he said, well, that's smoother and everything. And then he started saying to himself in his head, he's saying, I'm less powerful now.
Ah.
And then I went into the two of them and I said, good, good. And then the original male, first being male part, said, yeah, I don't know how comfortable I am with this. And I pulled out more of the frequencies. And
Mm.
then they stopped me before I never finished.
Mm.
There's a
Mm.
male that got most upset and said that, no, it's making me weaker. You want to control me, and I'm like, wow. So the female was confused. She said I was enjoying it, and then in her mind she was saying maybe that's the bad thing, maybe that's the trick.
All right. So a complete lack of trust.
Yeah, they couldn't trust. They never trusted themselves
Right.
with each
Mm.
other. I mean, but I can bring back almost half the angels. I'm gonna try to bring them all back, but when I can, I can.
Mm.
When I'm myself again, I can look at them when I pull them away, and some of them I know I just can't do. And
Mm.
Lily just said what I have said many times. All you can do is all you can do. She said you can't fix that.
Mm.
So there might be a way to go back in time and pull him out. I don't know. There's no telling everything I can do because of what I turned into, but
Yeah.
I'm going to go back with the intent of getting all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I did try. I wasn't aware because I didn't need to be aware. I
Yeah.
needed not to be aware to do what I had to do.
Yes.
But as soon as I'm free, I'll find out. I'm going to try anyway.
Mm.
So anyway, that's a lot of stuff because we broke it up. It's easier for people just to have one basic thought process
It is.
and,
Yeah.
and then make a video about that and then put out another video with a different thought process.
Is it okay? Is it 4 videos? Can I put these on YouTube?
Yeah, we didn't say anything that's,
Sure.
yeah, put them all on there.
Thank you.
Whatever you want to, your choice. You know me. I'm aggressive when it comes to protection. I'm a son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
But I, I come from a place of love, compassion, honor,
I suppose
equality.
when I'm asking the question, I'm wondering if Lily wants to offer her perspective as well. That's why I
Yeah,
asked the question.
yeah. Yeah, you're doing really good talking with her. And sometimes, like in that waking vision, that was all the lilies talking at the first time. I mean, at
Mm,
the same time.
mm.
But what happened to all the angels, that was done to them. I want them back in normal.
Yeah,
And Lily can help me heal like that. We'll be doing things like almost like one person, but two people
yeah,
working as one, you know.
yeah. Hmm.
Um, Lily just told me that if she was in a body, she'd be trying not to cry because of what was done to him.
Sure. Yeah.
We're older brother and sister looking after the family, trying to make life a picnic. But you can't, with it in solid bodies, you can't do it. That's why the whole idea is less than 6 years from now, everyone leaves. And when they do, no one's going to know. It's
Mm,
just going to happen because then all of a sudden they're home. If people know when they're going to die, they're going to usually shut down before that or
mm.
go crazy trying to do too much before a certain date. Is
Yeah.
just live and be happy. And no praying. Don't. I don't want people to make me go after their kneecaps. You know, I don't mean breaking them. I mean making them sore. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And every time I get down on my knees to pray, when I get up, I feel it hurts.
Some of them will see that as a sign of devoutness, so they'll go ahead anyway, even though it hurts.
Well,
They'll carry on. You know.
Lily will be telling them. She'll be saying, "Please don't do that anymore."
Yeah. Yeah.
But everyone's still waiting for the second coming of Jesus. Some people are going to be saying, "Oh, this is Jesus." You know,
Mm,
it's like I've tried to tell people who are embedded more in religion. I said, "You say Jesus is coming back? Yeah, yeah, he's coming back, and we're waiting on it." I said, "Okay, how are you going to know him when
mm,
he comes? How are you going to know it's Jesus? Do you remember what he looks like? Because if you do, then that means you're either thousands of years old, or that you're psychic and you have abilities to see, which means all prophets after me are false. So that means you're false, and what's going on with this stuff?" And they're like, "I don't know." And I said, if you can, if anyone else after him, born after him, comes out and they have abilities, then he's not him. He's not a
mm.
true prophet. But how are you going to know if somebody came back and did that? How do you know it's not him? I mean, how are you going to know it's him?
That reminds me. A lot of people are going to say this is the rapture.
Yeah, and it's not. It's the rapture. It's it's like the rapture. It's the end of abuse.
Yeah.
The people that are dying and going are, the bad people. And when it's time, everyone's coming out of body, but you know,
Mm,
they're going home to heal.
mm.
And people say, "What's heaven?" I said, "Well, the thought process of what heaven is actually the second dimension. So it's it's not heaven as you're told."
So the transfiguration in Matthew 17, that was everyone in that group around Jesus being shown by the other side. Here's Moses. Here's Elijah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
then I, it was JC's primary archangel, the strongest one, that just went into everyone's head and showed them the same image.
Yeah.
But he was controlling the image through the hypothalamus, and
Thank you.
yeah, um, it's like turning water to wine. That actually happened, but it was the archangel. It was his primary archangel that was uh, hanging with them. He told JC, "Turn the water to wine," and he goes, "Yeah, I don't think so. I'm not seeing that real. No."
Mm,
And then he kept pushing him, and then JC went up to his mom, and Mary was like 57% male energy anyway, spirit, and said, "Mother, I'm being told to turn the water to wine. I can't do that. I'm not able to do that. I've never done that before." And she said, or he, whatever, Go ahead and do it. So he hesitated. That his primary archangel pushed him like 2, 3 more times, and he just says, "Let us something with the proper liquid, or rejoice or whatever, celebrate." And it goes like this, and then the water turned to wine. That just made him even more, thinking he was more than what he could do, which is kind of dangerous. The thing about walking on water, that was literally a sandbar that went from the land, stretched out, and he just walked out there and came back. There's a time when he, quote unquote, healed the blind.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what that was actually about is he was walking with a group of people, and then there was a man on the road with his son. And, in the morning, I'm always wiping my eyes. Well, sometimes when you're sick, it like a mucus comes out of the eyes and it forms a crust.
Mm.
And then JC took him down to the water, put the water on his eyes, and says, "Oh, now you can see by the power of God," whatever. He just cleared the salt water. It cleared the mucus out of his eyes and the crust off his eyes, and his eyes, he could, he woke up seeing again.
Was there a different guy who was born blind? Was he healed?
That's totally different.
But that happened.
Oh, born blind, where he healed him?
Yeah, that's the story in John chapter 9.
Lily's just telling me point blank, no.
Never happened. Okay.
Never happened.
Just to clarify, Mary, the mother, was 48% male and
no, 50, like between 54 and 57. I'm getting like 57% male.
What was her negativity?
17.
Oh, 17%. Okay.
Yeah, it's just male versus female. She's 57%.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Male. It's like Moses. Moses was female. I actually met her in body, and it was a female body again.
So what Moses, when was the spirit female or male?
The spirit was female.
The spirit was female in Moses, the male.
Yeah,
okay.
Female essence. Femen, but maybe 12% Fae, 14% Fae, right around there. I it's hard for me to get super specific about it. Well, but do whatever you want, but I would only let that out to certain people, because other people that are trying to grasp this stuff for the first time, that'll shut them off. Said, "Oh no, that I was starting to believe that, but not now."
Okay, so this last one I'll hold back a bit. Maybe.
I would say put it at, Lily just said put it out there.
Okay, so all 4 will go on YouTube today.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wow.
But in my own talks, I'll hold back on the religious stuff.
When you start talking to the masses and you have their attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the people that are working with you, helping you to reach everybody, there's a dozen people, and it turns out to be more. It might go up to like 28 or something. We'll see. But they're going everywhere, and they're in different. Some of them are in different religions. But people are gonna want to know, when people start seeing dragons come out destroying stuff. When people see other people that are abusive lit on fire, they just explode into a fireball. Others drop dead. Some of them turn to powder. They're going to be like, what the hell is going on? And then the shift for attention is going to come right to you and your group.
And I'll say it's all good.
Yeah. But that was my father. I'm sorry, but your father was extremely abusive.
Mm.
Well, yeah. He used to beat the hell out of me when I was a kid, but he was my father. I said, not really, but I mean, physically, yeah. But
Yeah, yeah.
and so people can understand when a man and a woman create a physical. Whoa, wow! Create a physical body. That's they both donated to create the physical body, but the spirit, the battery that goes in there, that spirit, they have no choice in that.
Mm.
We're so good, so loving. We've been good parents, and he's going around killing people. You only created the vessel for him to come into. All of us, the who we really are, is the spirit, not the body's nothing.
Mm.
I mean, it's not nothing, but it's not who we are.
Mm.
It's the vehicle car we're in.
Yes, yeah.
All right, I'm shutting down.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I'll see you in a bit. Okay.
Okay, have a good one.
You too. Okay, bye.
Cheers. Bye.